return to glory.
Did we just see what we think we just saw?
If that doesn't give you chills, you're never going to get them.
As good as it gets.
The USL on CBS Sports is presented by Best Western. Got a good one today in the Pacific Northwest as Spokane Velocity welcome Westchester SC. Coming down to the wire now in the USL League One season. Here we are in week 27, single-digit games remaining for these teams. Spokane trying to chase down Chattanooga Red Wolves, and Westchester trying to cling to what are still very slim playoff hopes. Happy to have you with us this evening on CBS Sports. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. Ricky, these two teams can both use the phrase must win today, but as you saw there in the standings, for very different reasons.
3 points at a premium here for this Westchester side. If they want to make the playoffs, they need to get going, and what an opportunity this is on the road for Dave Carton. For the Spokane side, they have aspirations to be challenging for the Player Shield. They have to get these 3 points if they want to stay like for like with a Chattanooga side that just won last night.
Big win last night for the Red Wolves. It has them 6 points clear, but 2 games in hand for Spokane. It's night and day what it was last year versus this year for Spokane, and that's saying something because they made it all the way to the final last year. Through 20 games, though, you see 4 more wins for this Velocity side. They caught fire late last year. They've built more this year to have a better base to go on from. Last year, they were the underdogs, the dark horses. Now, among the favorites, and a big reason why, Luis Hill.
Luis Hill is just an important piece of what this Spokane Velocity side wants to do going forward, the ability to come underneath and be part of the build-out phase. But once he does get into that final third, he has the ability to find that final ball, but he also shown that he can score goals. Look for him to really test the shape of Westchester, for Luis Hill to be the best player in the field for Spokane Velocity.
And plenty of quality for the 31-year-old. 2 caps for the U.S. men's national team as well. On the other side for Westchester, it's really tough to pinpoint why they've struggled this year, but this is the biggest stat as far as a check against them. 32 points dropped from a winning position, set a league record.
Westchester, they're going to score goals, but they're also going to concede a boatload of goals. For Dave Carton, it needs to be a little bit frustrating because this is all between the ears. Players not having the ability to win their individual duels, not having the ability to get into their shape defensively, compactness, but also a little bit of naive defending. That has been the thorn in the side for Westchester as they continue to drop points.
One thing that has been a consistent, though, J.C. Obregon, terrific.
J.C. Obregon, he's mean, he's physical, he's ruthless, and he has the ability to do a little bit of everything, whether it is running in behind and stretching the game, but also can be part of the combination play. He's clinical when he does get in front of goal. Service into J.C. Obregon will be crucial if Westchester wants to come into the Pacific Northwest and take all the points.
Third meeting of the season between these two clubs. Spokane won the first one 3-1. There was some controversy in the second one. Became a 3-0 forfeit win for Westchester. So the rubber match here today. It's Spokane Velocity and Westchester SC next on CBS Sports Network. teams have taken the field here in Spokane. Spokane Velocity welcoming Westchester SC, ready to get things going this Sunday afternoon in Spokane. Take a look now at the starting lineups for both, beginning with the home side. Ricky, there's a reason this is one of the top teams in the league. Depth on every line.
This team is well balanced for Lee Wiedemann. You look at that middle three of Hill, Lewis, and Fernandez. Fernandez is going to drop a little bit deeper, and he's going to cover a lot of ground, allowing Andre Lewis to be a little bit more box to box at connecting the back to front. Luis Hill's going to get on the ball. He's going to dictate tempo. He's going to find that final pass. And then you look at that front two, John Brown, the ability to stretch the game, to run in behind. Elias, he's physical. He's a stand-up number 9. So service into him will be crucial. Quick start for Spokane Velocity will be crucial for Lee Wiedemann here at home.
Westchester on the other side, a very offensive-minded lineup.
A team that wants to get at you, that wants to be on the front foot, but in doing that, sometimes they leave themselves exposed going back the other way. So Pierre and Palma, they need to do a good job, the two center backs, at keeping everything in front of them, staying organized and in possession, expecting a lot of high pressure, having the personality to bypass that first line into Opioshi and Jonathan Bolaños, still players. Look for them to settle this Westchester side in.
Spokane in their whites from right to left, Westchester in their blues from left to right. Corbin May, the referee in charge. Single-digit games remaining for these teams. All comes down to this in week 27 of the USL League One season. Final match of the weekend, Spokane and Westchester on CBS Sports Network. Happy to have you with us alongside Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. Down for Spokane while Westchester plays it through. Still cleared. A little bit warmer here today, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. So something for these players to contend with. This is around the time of the year you figure it gets a bit cooler. Still the last little push of summer these players will have to contend with. Could see hydration breaks in the first half. Joel Johnson looking long. Played centrally. Good hustle to keep that in at the end line. Obregon battling. Obregon using that frame, low center of gravity, but loses it.
The right side of the field for Westchester is going to be a point of emphasis with Powder and Joel Johnson. Joel Johnson's going to drop in a little bit deeper, allowing Powder to really run in behind and be vertical. So if you are Spokane Velocity, the understanding between Chrysler and Waldeck, as one steps, the other one needs to provide a little bit of coverage underneath.
Both these teams coming off of losses. Spokane a 1-0 defeat last week against Knoxville on the road. Westchester a 2-0 defeat in the midweek at home against Richmond. So rest is a factor in this one. Westchester just played Wednesday and then traveled cross country. Spokane have not played since last weekend. I mentioned it in the open of our broadcast. There was some controversy the last time these teams met. It was a 3-2 win in 90 minutes for Spokane. There was a bit of a snafu in terms of how the roster was submitted. An illegal player was technically used, so it was overturned for a forfeit. So when you look at the record book, it doesn't show that 3-2 Spokane win we're showing you. It'll show a 3-0 Westchester win. But just want to be clear on how that game actually went through the 90 minutes. So the first meeting between these teams this season, a 3-1 Spokane win. The second meeting was 3-2 Spokane after 90, but it's a 3-0 forfeit win for Westchester in the books.
One thing that we come to expect when both of these teams play against each other is a lot of goals.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully we continue that trend here in Spokane here.
Average of 4.5 goals per game through the first two meetings between these two sides. Be interesting if we got 4.5 goals today. Don't think the rules allow for that yet.
Yeah, I don't think so yet, Joe.
But good shot.
Never
it's either
know.
4 or 5. Free kick on the way. And an early yellow as well. Bobby Pierre has shown no benefit of the doubt for the early stage of this game. Corbin May puts him in the book.
Bobby Pierre is really aggressive when he does step off of his line. No need. Just loses his footing and takes out Luis Hill. Big test for the center backs. 4 minutes in to see yellow. Needs to be very aware in terms of his discipline when he steps out, his positioning, and how he arrives into challenges now.
Lucky Opara standing over the free kick. 25-year-old Nigerian defender. Came over this year from Northern Colorado, where he spent the last 2 years. Spokane team last year really struggled at times in terms of leaking goals, so a lot of the retooling in the offseason for a team that, again, made the final last year, runners-up in League One, but a lot of the retooling came on the back line for Spokane, and it's shown. And a recent addition as well, Jalen Chrysler there heads it away. They signed him in the offseason. Chrysler from Everett, Washington, went to Gonzaga, so a bit of a return home for him. 2022 League One All-League first team. Injuries cost him the first 3 quarters of the season. Made his first start last week and his second start tonight. So an already outstanding defensive unit this season, got even richer with his return last week.
A team that's only conceded 14 times in 2025, and you mentioned that Lead Wiedemann wanted to come into 2025 and right the wrongs in terms of their defensive structure. 2024, they laid the foundation. Was quick to point out they exceeded expectations going into the final, but now it's all about building upon 2024. So this side has eyes to push up for the Players' Shield and trying to win that elusive trophy at the end of the season.
He said last year's main goal was just to get to a point that an identity and culture were established for Spokane, where somebody watching in the stands could say, you know what, this is what Spokane is about. This is how we can expect this team to play week in, week out. And then from there, they went on a run. They got hot, such as life in this league. The hot team usually makes the final. They got there. But this year, the goal was a little bit different. They were aiming a bit higher. They didn't want to just make the playoffs. They wanted to have a home playoff game. But similar to last year, here we are now getting near the end of the season. Expectations have been exceeded. They're not just going to get a home playoff game. There's a chance they win the Players' Shield, and now they're the ones with the targets on their back. So maybe another year ahead of schedule for Lead Wiedemann, who would have looked at next year, year 3 of building this program as that potential title-winning season. Fell just shy last year, and maybe favorites again this year.
This year, Lead Wiedemann has done a fantastic job at continuing that identity that he wants his side to play with, which is they want to slow the game down, but also in understanding when they do go forward, they need to play at a really high tempo. He's been able to bring profiles of players that he wants. You look at a player like Anwar Pillai, that's big, that's physical, that you can play into, or a center back Garcia that's fantastic, that he raves about in terms of his quality and his leadership. This team is well balanced and something that we've come to expect from Spokane as they continue to push up the table.
Jonathan Bolaños couldn't track that one down for Dave Carton's side. Dave Carton encouraged and frustrated simultaneously for what he's seen from his team this year. Encouraged because they're among the league leaders in goals scored, and they've been in so many one-goal games. Frustrated because so many of those turned into losses. As we showed you, 32 points dropped from a leading position. That's a league record still with more than a handful of games to go, and they blew past that record to get to the 32 points they're on already that they've dropped. Even if you take half of those points back, you're talking about a team that is not only in the playoffs, you're talking about a team that is maybe in the running for a home playoff game. Just half of those points dropped from a winning position. Not asking for all of them back. That's a different story.
You just look at the goals for, goals against for Westchester. They've scored 30 times. They've had the ability to score, find the back of the net, and they've conceded 46 times. Not good enough, because you look at the talent on Westchester's roster, it's there. Players that have had success not only in League One, but USL Championship as well, overseas, whatever you want to call it. This team does have the talent to go like for like, but it's just those mental errors that continue to haunt this Westchester side.
For their national teams as well. Samori Powder, you saw down this near sideline. It's been a call up for Trinidad and Tobago. Looking to link up with Prince Sadie, one of those experienced USL Championship guys that you mentioned. 5 goals and 2 assists in League One this year. Waldeck angling it ahead. Bobby Pierre on that early yellow card, has to be careful in these moments defensively. Player that Dave Carton's really been happy with. Injuries have also been a big theme this year for Westchester, ravaged by them all season long. It's forced different players to step up at a quicker rate than they expected. They brought in Bobby Pierre as sort of an experimental, more long-term project at center back, the 23-year-old. He's come right in and turned into a staple for them. Now his 9th start this season. Spent the last 3 years in MLS Next Pro. At the U17 level for Haiti, the U20 level for the United States, Bobby Pierre. If you would have asked Dave Carton, I think in an honest moment coming into the season, how many games Bobby Pierre might have gotten, he maybe would have said 6 or 7 toward the end of the year. if they got to a point where the project was starting to pay off. Not as many as he has gotten, but it's been a good thing. Long switch down the right side for Lucky Opara. Better tackle put in by Josh Drack.
Really good positioning there from Drack, saying like for like. With this Jome on that far side, changing the point of attack is something that you get from a player like Colin Fernandez with the wand of a left foot. So the positioning from the outside backs of Westchester, Drack and Johnson needs to be spot on and staying compact, but also being able to go out and isolate with their 1v1 attacker.
Okiyoshi. Sadie. Trying to bend it through for Obregon. Good idea, wrong execution.
Just a little bit too long in terms of the touches here from Prince Sadie. This Westchester side is at their best when they're quick, when they're decisive, when players are taking 1-2 touches and trying to play in between lines. Good pocket of space from Lewis.
Opara looking long. Bobby Pierre cuts it off. Siobhan John Brown was giving chase to the 30-year-old striker from Grenada. He went 90 in both of Grenada's June World Cup qualifiers. 2 goals, 2 assists on the leading line for Spokane. Another free kick on the way for Velocity.
The spaces are just too big in between the defensive unit of Westchester. Getting caught in between 2 lines. Are they going to press or are they going to drop off? That is allowing Spokane just to find pockets of space like this.
Flag stays down. Ish Jome has options. Lays it off. Opportunity here blocked in front by Pierre. Good look. Good service. Lucky Opara coming up off that back line. The center back for Spokane nearly put a dent in the scoreboard.
Talked about the ability to change a point of attack on a dime and go out the other way. Good 1v1 defending here from Drack, just slowing it down. And Opara, the underlapping run. Bobby Pierre doing a fantastic job at just staying his ground and denying this Spokane side an opening goal.
Dave Carton mentioned that the key to this game for Westchester will again need to win this game to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. Just simply executing in the key moments in both boxes. You look at a lot of the 1-goal games they've lost this year and the points they've dropped from a winning position, it always just comes down to a moment in either box. They're good through the thirds, they're happy with most of the play, but that last 5% is where they've struggled. There's your first key moment. They get the block in the 18. And withstood that first dangerous look from Spokane. Right through. Palai's going for goal. Gonna take a deflection. No. Goal kick. The leading scorer unhappy with the call.
Fantastic bit of play from Spokane. It starts with the patience from Opara just to slow the game down, and this allows Palais to make this run as Bobby Pierre gets pulled out of position. His first touch needs to get out a little bit more in front of him so he can wrap his foot around it. First touch lets him down, it bobbles up, and that's why it goes up and over the crossbar, but good run from Palais.
Second year in League One for Palais, limited to just 6 appearances and 1 goal last year. Took a big leap this year, 8 goals through 20 matches. Signed late last August for that stretch run after he spent the first half of 2024 in Guatemala with Guatemalan powerhouse Guastatoya. The 8 goals he has this year match his USL career high. He had 8 goals back in 2023 in the championship with the Oakland Roots. He's a proven goal scorer under the USL umbrella. He was instrumental in that stretch run for Spokane last year when they caught fire, when they made that run to the final. It's nice to have him for a whole year and a whole healthy year for Velocity. Palma switching. Drack making that overlapping run. Beckford took a deflection. That's to Shane Beckford down that left side. He just came in on loan from Hartford Athletic, the 27-year-old from Jamaica. That loan went official on August 29th. This is his 3rd appearance, first start for Westchester.
Beckford, very 1v1 player, very direct and vertical within his movement. He's a player that can bring you to the edge of your seat, provide a little bit of magic in that final third.
4 caps at the senior level for Jamaica, 2 in World Cup qualifiers last year. Low line drive here from the corner. They'll do it again. Obregon tried the cheeky flick on. It was an interesting move when it happened, Beckford coming in. You wouldn't have thought that amplifying the attack was where Westchester would have wanted to improve through a sort of loan deal. Doesn't hurt to be able to just outscore teams 4-3 as he bends this one in. His former head coach at Hartford, who loaned him out here to Westchester, Brendan Burke, famous for a quote he had a couple of years ago when he was in charge of a Colorado Springs Switchbacks team that struggled defensively but were outstanding offensively. Simply put, if we give up 4, we just got to score 5. And that's sort of the approach this year for Westchester because of their attack, or rather defensive struggles. So bringing Beckford in is not going to help things defensively, but it could have them win games 5-4 instead of losing 4-3.
You just look at the front line for Westchester, Obregon, Sadie, you throw in Beckford there, the ability to complement each other extremely well. Obregon has the ability to come to feet and really combine, allowing Prince Sadie to be that vertical threat from wide parts of the field. And Beckford has the freedom just to go and search the game. So those front 3 getting in a rhythm will be really important, especially on the road for Dave Carton if they want to get a result.
We talked about it earlier, just the overall attacking lineup for Westchester. It's played wide for Samori Powder. Powder, no trouble for Marancio. But the 4 guys on the top line, Beckford, Obregon, Sadie, Powder, natural strikers or wingers. In the midfield, Bolaños and Okiyoshi, both natural 10s. Joel Johnson at right back is a natural midfielder. Josh Strack at left back is a natural left winger. And then they have 2 center backs who are actually center backs. But outside of that, those 2 center backs are the only genuine defensive players in the lineup. Everybody else is offensive minded for this Westchester side. You can show off your team pride and style with official merch from shopusl.com. Check out brand new tees, hoodies, novelty items, and more of your favorite USL team at shopusl.com by scanning the QR code now.
About 16 minutes into this game, we have not seen one or the other really dominate in terms of the possession or getting a rhythm. It's been mostly long ball after long ball, which if you are Lee Beeman, you need Andre Lewis and Colin Fernandez just to slow the game down and get in a rhythm. Because right now, notice how many numbers Westchester is committing in terms of the press. So that allows there's some pockets of space elsewhere that you can really exploit, but just needs to be a little bit cleaner in terms of your possession. Good run.
Works back for Hisjom. Waldeck. Lucky Opara. Always eager to step up off his back line. Threads this one through. Heel. Opara. Nice give and go. Opara with options all the way across for Waldeck. It's out for a Spokane throw.
When building out, this Spokane side almost builds out in a 2-back system with Chrysler and Garcia playing as the 2 center backs, allowing Opara to be really aggressive. How many times have we seen him get into that final third and create a little bit of an overload? So there is a lot of rotations in the way that Spokane likes to build out, especially when playing out of the back.
Bringing Opara all the way across the field here to take this long throw. Launched in toward the penalty spot. Settled, some contact there, laid off. Well defended by Westchester. That's a weapon, that throw from Opara. Curling this one in, Opara. And a foul goes against Spokane.
Not the initial ball that can really cause some issues. It's a second wave attack that can really put teams under pressure, but give credit to Westchester. Their box defending was fantastic. Okiyoshi doing just enough to clear their lines. And it's a tough challenge between Chrysler coming through. The center midfielder, clear foul.
Dave Carton bringing his guys over for a word. Carton, formerly an assistant in League One with Charlotte, who are in a playoff position themselves here this year. Lee Veidman, formerly an assistant and a head coach at the USL Championship level, took over the Spokane project last year. This is a game that really showcases the growth we've seen over the last couple of years in League One and the growth we're going to see with another handful of teams joining the league next year as it continues to expand. Westchester in their expansion season, Spokane in their second season after making it to the final last year, which is a question of what's next. And what is next is maybe lifting the Players' Shield this year before the end of the regular season. They do control destiny based on the games in front of them and the tiebreakers, but they do have to win those games in hand because Chattanooga do have a 6-point lead. A good conversation with Dave Carton, the Westchester head coach, about just the growth of this league. He's seen it over the last few years from an assistant's chair in Charlotte, now from the head coach's chair in Westchester. And the biggest thing he pointed to is just the diversity in terms of playing style now in the league. And the old guard, the teams of Omaha and Greenville and Tormenta, Richmond, teams that have had success in the past, they've been forced to evolve now because of all these new teams, new ideas, new players that have come in. Overall, it's just been able to rise the overall tide of the quality in the league. And interestingly enough, if you look at the standings, a bulk of those old guard teams are below that playoff line. There's 5 teams that are either at or below that playoff line right now. Omaha's right in 8th place in that last spot. So a lot of the old guard is starting to have to play catch up with some of the new guard.
You just look how the game of soccer has really evolved. I mean, perfect example, the long throw for a par. How many teams nowadays, especially in World Football, MLS, the USL Championship, use that as a dangerous set piece, just whip the ball into a dangerous area, cause some issues. That was something that was never into play when I was a player, but also understanding that teams want to build out of the back, because if they do build out of the back, they bait the opposition at stepping high, which leaves some real estate higher up the field. When I was a player as well as you, it was just more, let's just clear our lines. Let's play as far as away from our defensive goal. So those are 2 perfect examples that we've seen how this game really evolved in terms of the quality and the game plans.
To be clear, when you say when I was a player, we're not talking about 15 years ago either. We're talking about just a couple of years ago.
Thank you for not dating me. There you go.
So, beside not dating you, that's just how rapid the change has happened. It's only been a couple of years.
It's a good teammate, Joe.
You know, I try to look out for you when I can.
There you go. That's why I like you.
And to that point about the standings and the old guard below that line, from 8th place down, Omaha, Tormenta, Greenville, Richmond, Madison. So 4 teams below the line, 1 at the line. And you go from the top of the table. Chattanooga, yes, part of that old guard, but Spokane, 2 years old. 1 Knoxville, 3 years old. Naples expansion team. Charlotte, the old guard. AV Alta expansion team. Portland expansion team. So a lot of those new teams, those shiny new toys in this league, are proving it this year. Westchester the exception in last, but as we've talked about, it's a bit misleading that this team is in last. 32 points dropped from a winning position. Yes, their own fault. Yes, their own doing. But they've not been pushovers. They have been a very difficult team to deal with. Play continuing here, despite a lot of contact and a player down for Spokane. A long run to keep it in for Sadie. He does. Waldeck tight to him, though.
I think the argument for Andre Lewis is he looks up and sees Opara down and just assumes that Corbin May is going to blow the whistle. You can never assume in this game. Just put the ball out of bounds, let the referee go and attend to the injured player. But Opara's been involved in some really difficult physical altercations early in this game. Been really active on the right-hand side for Spokane.
Obregon looking to turn on Chrysler. Hill can't keep it in play.
Just uses the wrong foot here. If you can bend it around with your left foot, now it bends towards the inside of the field versus hitting it with your right foot, it bends away. Player of that quality, you see the frustration on his face, but you need to get him a little bit more influential if you are Lee Beeman and Spokane Velocity, if you want to find success going high up the field. It's been really quiet early in this game.
Feels like Spokane are starting to exert their control over this game now. Halfway through this first half on CBS Sports Network. Happy to have you with us. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. Third meeting of the season between these teams, technically 1-1. Floated in, Palai's backtracking, flicks it toward goal. Was always tracking back, going to be difficult to get any power on that.
A good heads-up play here from John Brown. Notices that the back line of Westchester, they fall asleep, and those are those little minute details that continue to haunt the visiting side. Hill doing a good job at just buying some time, allowing Pelaez to develop his run behind him, unable to get his body position right and balance to really test the goalkeeper.
Just a reminder, as I say, technically 1-1 in the season series. A reminder that the second game was a 3-2 Spokane win, overturned due to a clerical forfeit afterwards, so it's listed as a 3-0 Westchester win. So technically the rubber match here. Flag stays down. Jom deflected, and it does go out for a corner. Enrique Facuse, who we haven't had a chance to talk about yet, loanee coming in from Motagua in Honduras, making his third start for this Westchester side, unable to keep it in play.
We've seen the wide parts of the field be really important for Spokane velocity, whether it is Opar on that right-hand side, John Brown as well. It's Joe that shifted over to this left-hand side, so you get a natural out-and-out winger and a left-footer player on the left hand of the field.
John Brown will come over and take the corner. 3 goals, 2 assists last year with Central Valley Fuego in League One. John Brown. Waldeck. Dane Jackham, the backup goalkeeper today for Dave Carton's side, has gotten the lion's share of the starts this year for Westchester. Facuse again just came in on loan at the end of August. 2 appearances in Honduras with powerhouse Motagua. Made 7 on loan to Inter Palmira in the Colombian 2nd Division. Originally from Honduras. This is not his first time playing in the U.S. Went to the University of Kentucky. Was an all-conference player at Kentucky. Led them to the Elite 8 in the 2018 NCAA tournament. Going back to the U.S. now for the first time in a couple of years. Slotting right in as Westchester's starter.
Can just notice how expanded the back line for Spokane is right now. Those are your 2 center backs, Garcia and Chrysler, about 50 yards between one another. Colin Fernandez drops in underneath, almost playing as a pseudo center back. So that gives the outside backs the ability to be really aggressive and take up a higher position, creating an overload, which pins back this Westchester side. But the problem for Spokane right now is that they're just not clean enough in possession.
Space though now for Westchester. Opportunity to get ahead. Westchester pulled toward the near post. It's just wide. That Spokane back line was all out of sorts, and Beckford had the opportunity.
And that's a risky run when you are being expansive. You leave yourself vulnerable going back the other way. This is when Beckford is at his best, when he is 1v1, head full of steam. And notice how he just slows up his body, trying to bait Garcia to jump in, and that's when he puts it to his right foot, tries the wrong foot. Morancio just pulls it wide, but good action for Westchester.
Either manager happier at this point or both pretty neutral?
Dave Carton, 0-0, 30 minutes in, on the road against a team that is challenging for the Player Shield, and that is a tough challenge between Colin Fernandez and Johnson.
Foul went Spokane's way. Oh, that's a tough free kick to call against Westchester too. It seemed like Johnson was trying to let up and get out of that.
Unintentional from Johnson.
Seemed initiated by Fernandez in every facet.
Colin Fernandez wins the initial ball, and it's the follow through that catches Johnson. 2 players that are just so important for Lee Wiedemann and Dave Carton. The way that they want to play on and off the ball. Colin Fernandez, Lee Wiedemann said he's one of, if not the most underrated player in all of USL League One. The ability to muck up the game, clog passing lanes, cover a lot of ground, but in possession just keeps it simple and keeps the ball moving. Doesn't get a lot of the accolades that he should. When Johnson, a player that has had so much success at USL League One, USL Championship, can do a little bit of everything and play numerous of positions, and he's been a luxury to have for Dave Carton and this Westchester side.
Hope it was just the wind knocked out as he's walking this off. Dave Carter has maintained a tremendous attitude about this season. You and I have, just the way the scheduling is broken down, coincidentally had them a fair bit this year between Jägermeister Cup and League One play. And he's always maintained a good head about him despite the results. The players have sort of taken on that identity as well. They understand it's an expansion season, and while they would have hoped for more than they've gotten so far, they're certainly laying that foundation from a player perspective, from a culture and identity perspective, and it's clear what the issue is, but it's a hard issue to correct. Just a matter of not doing the little things in those key moments. Just one win in 1-goal games this year. 1-5-8 in those situations, 32 points dropped, a league record from a winning position. So it just as easily could be a playoff team we're talking about, but frustratingly so, it's not. They've kept a good head on their shoulders, though, through it all.
And looking ahead, it's going to be a really important offseason for Westchester and Dave Carton. You just look what a difference makes for the Spokane Velocity side, getting the right pieces and the turnaround what they've been able to do in the regular season. So if you're Dave Carton, you're looking at players that can come in and be not only the right fit in terms of the professional player, but also the person, saying that they're going to dig deep and win those individual duels, because that's what's been lacking for Westchester.
And Westchester would do well to take a page out of Spokane's book, who did not rest on their laurels this offseason because they made the final last year. Call a spade, at the end of the day, they were a 7-9-6 team last year. They had a losing record. They snuck into the playoffs as a 7 seed, got hot, made the final. By no means were they one of the top teams in the league last year. So they could have easily said, you know what, we made a final, let's keep things status quo. But instead, they looked at it and said, we're a 7-9-6 team, we need to improve. They improved, and look at where they are now. Perhaps the favorites to go on and win this whole thing. Maybe we'll hoist a player shield at the end of the regular season as a top team. Westchester in a similar boat. Even if they do go on a run here at the end of the year and make the playoffs, there's some improving to do, but they're starting from a good base. Space here for Heel.
Need to connect that ball if you are Andre Lewis. Again, just a little bit too slow for Spokane Velocity here. You do a good job at bypassing the initial line of pressure. The field starts to open up, but that is when you need to be a little bit more decisive at ending an action with a shot on target.
Possession really tilting towards Spokane now. Around the 20-minute mark of this first half, Westchester actually did still have a slight edge in the possession. Now 57-43 Spokane's way. Jom. Waldeck on his preferred left foot, runs out of room. And does some rearranging of the ad boards.
It's left-hand side with Waldeck and Jom, two players that are left-footed by nature. Wants to get on the end of it with the service. A really good recovery and recognition from Juan Palma just to come across and not leave his feet and just close down the angle of Waldeck.
Three shots apiece for these two sides, neither yet with a shot on target. You expect it in terms of the defensive prowess of Spokane. Fewest goals conceded in the league, second most clean sheets in the league. You don't necessarily expect it from the Westchester side, and that's something Dave Carton will be proud of. They've conceded the most goals in the league. They don't have a single clean sheet this season. I think, again, given the way the last two meetings between these teams have gone, 3-1 Spokane, 3-2 Spokane, you could expect goals to still flow at some point in this one. Just the way these teams naturally mingle with their styles and their personnel, even if it hasn't happened yet. Waldeck gets a ball in. Good service, flicked away by Pierre. The ball was over the line. Should be a Spokane throw, though. It looked like it went out before it was touched. And that's what the argument was. It was flicked on by a Westchester defender. In any event, it's down the other way, but running out of room, Beckford. Tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern, catch more footy action as Panama takes on Guatemala in a CONCACAF World Cup qualifier. Catch all the action right here on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount+.
That last action was a little bit better for Spokane Velocity on the left-hand side. Joan will come centrally, and what that does, that occupies whether it is Johnson or Powder, and that allows Waldeck to be aggressive and provide the width. If you can have your two players on the same side playing in different planes, that is when you can really manipulate the space and get in behind.
Powder goes all the way back to Fakuse. Possession still climbing now for Spokane. We showed it to you a few moments ago. They just took a 53-47 edge. It's all the way up to 60-40 now. Power has shifted in this game. Spokane starting to flex the muscles a little bit. It's a matter of turning it into something. Obregon with Sadie. JC Obregon! No stopping that man! A dozen on the season! Westchester ahead!
First time that we've seen Westchester slow the game down and just build in between the lines. I love this little pocket of space that Okiyoshi picks up. Gets the ball in the half turn, which allows Prince Sadie and JC Obregon to take in a more aggressive positioning higher up the field. Head up the whole way, and this little touch right here from Sadie baits out Waldeck, and this is when Obregon is at his best. Head full of steam, goal in front of him, and watch the technical ability, just smashes this thing, hits right through it. Marancio can't see it because there's Chrysler in front of him and just stings the back of the net here. 1-0 against the run of play for Westchester.
12 goals now tied with Carson Henderlong of FC Naples for the Golden Boot lead. First team All-League last season, Obregon. Had 15 goals and 20 starts for Charlotte last year, where Dave Carton was an assistant and the technical director. His scoring has not been confined to League One play this year either. 2 goals in the Jägermeister Cup, 3 goals in Open Cup. He has been scoring at will, whatever team, whatever competition you put in front of him, whatever level of opponent against USL Championship sides. In the Jägermeister Cup, can Spokane get it right back? Contact there, edge of the area, waved off. It looked like it was in the area, so if there was a decision to be made for Corbin May, it probably would have been a penalty. Good chance to remind you, though, that there is no VAR in the equation, so the call made, the call that stands.
See if that gives a little bit of a jolt of energy for Spokane Velocity in terms of the tempo. 38 minutes in, you just see what Fakuse is trying to do now, trying to drain some clock. Tells you how important this 3 points will be for Westchester and Dave Carton.
Reminder, though, Westchester, this is where they've struggled this year. Set the league record for points dropped from a winning position at 32. It is a mind-numbing number, and
crazy.
It's one that, again, just in the conversations with head coach Dave Carton, there's really just an acceptance of it and an understanding that they just have to be better in the key moments defensively. Yes, they've been ravaged by injuries, particularly on that back line this year. It's felt like every single game they've had to flip-flop the names on that back four.
Just looking for consistency, not only in the performances, but also the lineup. Dave Carton is through that back line, and when you have players that are in and out, players that have a really difficult time trying to form relationships, especially in that center back pairing between Palma and Pierre, probably the two players that he wants in those slots, but haven't been able to get the run of games to understand the movements off one another, to get the comfortability, because that is your foundation of your lineup, the two center backs are.
It does them no good to dwell on what it could have been if they would have earned some more of those points. But you take your pick at how you want to look at it. Do you want to say pick up 33% of those points? Well, they'd be a playoff team. Pick up half those points, they'd be a home playoff team. Even just the slight fraction of changing 3 of those results, and they're a playoff team. So it is that simple, but also that frustrating for Westchester this year.
Now you start to see a little bit how more compact this Westchester side is. All 11 players deep in their defensive half. So the ball needs to move quickly. That is a really good ball in from Garcia. But again, not able to retain possession. John Brown is.
Flex stays down. Flick back, great ball that is, edge of the area now, the response from Spokane, wasting no time to level things.
Talked about the importance of Luis Gil and this Spokane velocity side. When they go forward, if you find your number 10, you will start to find success. The ability to peel out, but also to bring in Garcia. And this is a center back that has that quality, the vision, the execution, and it's the extra pass from Hill as he understands that Andre Lewis is in a better body position. You put it on target, you give yourself a chance, and there's a lot of traffic in front of Akuse. He sees it late. A little bit of a wicked deflection, but Spokane velocity won't mind. 1-1 here at home.
And that is the first of the season for Andre Lewis. Had 4 goals last year, his first season with Spokane.
How many times in his career have we seen him arrive into the 18-yard box late? Has a very good feel in terms of his timing. And when you have the teammates that make the right decision in that final third, he is a luxury of a midfielder to have, because he, time after time, arrives unmarked and does it yet again.
So both these teams, after going a half hour without a shot on target, both score on their first shot on target of the match. And as you and I were chatting about a few minutes ago, it would be hard-pressed to expect a game between these two sides to go scoreless for very long. Sure enough, they each get one before halftime and may not be done yet.
Seen 2 really well-worked goals, but 2 different goals. A little bit of individual class from JC Obregon, hits it so clean and so pure to get his 12th on the season. And this is Spokane velocity football at its finest. Combination play, quick decisiveness, and a really good finish from a deep-lying midfielder, Andre Lewis. Complete team goal for Lead Wiedemann.
I was just starting to say before that moment for Spokane and tying it, even though all those points have been lost for Westchester already, you can't dwell on it, you have to put it in the past, because there is still a chance to make the playoffs. It's not a great chance. Our colleague John Morrissey over at USL Tactics provided his playoff projection data, and the percentage of Westchester making it is less than 1% in the computer model, but if the chance that exists, really should they go close to running the table. So even though they've had all these issues this year, you just have to look at the game in front of you and hold on to what was, for the time being, a 1-0 lead, and a moment later, it's gone. In case you were wondering, on the other side of that, Spokane have a greater than 99% chance of making it into the postseason, and in all likelihood, they will be hosting a playoff game, perhaps the Shield winner as the top team in the league. And a long throw comes in from Opara, bouncing around, deflected and cleared. Launched ahead, back post, kept in play. Good hustle there from Garcia to keep that alive. Opara.
How good has Garcia been? The center back, a player that they've even raved extremely high about.
Waldeck on his preferred left foot, directing traffic, feeds Jome. Is Jome delivering? It will spin in. Hill was waiting to see if they could earn a quarter out of that, but it stayed in play. Beckford. Sadie. Right into his man. Did draw the foul. I think I'm with Fernandez there. I don't think
I agree with
anything he could have
Fernandez
done.
here. He actually makes the initial move, and he makes the first move, and Prince Sadie runs into him. That is a frustration for the center midfielder for Spokane.
Let me stop you there, because this is maybe a first that you did not side with the striker as a former striker. So when you're not siding with the striker, you know it probably shouldn't have been a foul.
You were doing so good earlier being on my side. Now you quickly turn, you're against me again.
I got to keep you on your toes. As the great Ron Swanson once said, it was getting too chummy in here. Told there will be 3 minutes of stoppage time here in this first half. And when we get to halftime, you are going to make a lot of people angry, perhaps. Perhaps.
Nothing new.
We'll be taking a look at the Coach of the Year, Player of the Year picks by yourself and the title winner as well. We'll see if America is outraged or in agreement. I just hope you know I'm going to disagree with whatever you pick on purpose.
I know that, Joe.
I take it back. There's one pick I agree with, and I'll mention it when we get there.
Okay. Our producer wants us to call it Rick's Picks. I like it. Maybe it sticks?
Rick's Pick Sticks?
Yeah, there you go.
Or if they're bad, we'll nix Rick's Picks.
All right,
we do this all day.
We're done.
Sadie, curling one in,
Ball.
back post, good ball. Good calm defending amid all that chaos too for Spokane. Rancio wasn't sure if he could pick it up, probably could have. It didn't seem intentional, but better safe than sorry. Johnson for Palma. This almost feels like the end of a basketball half where a team is holding for the last shot. Westchester not really content to push this forward. They do now. Misplayed on the back end. Good touch into space from Hill. Hill goes down.
Has to be yellow.
And will be. So going into the second half, barring any substitutions, both center backs are going to be on yellows for Westchester, and that's trouble.
Just two silly mistakes. First, Bobby Pierre unable to read the flight of the ball, and now Palma, you do not need to engage in contact here. Heel is facing towards the sideline. You make him play negative. Your job is done as you try to win that ball. Hill's just too clever. He takes a contact, he goes down, and now both of your center backs, like you just mentioned, in the book right before halftime. Not what you want if you are Dave Carnan. If you are Lee Veidman, that is a point of emphasis in the next 45 minutes. You go at the two center backs and you test them, and you test them often.
Last chance of this first half. Waldeck standing over it. Waldeck lumps it forward. And it's square. Cleared. Foul goes against Spokane anyway, and that should bring us to the end of this first half. We were goalless until the 36th. That man J.C. Obregon scored the first, but it was only a 4-minute lead enjoyed by Westchester. Andre Lewis with his first of the season tied things up. And there is the whistle to end half number 1. After seeing a combined 9 goals in the first 2 meetings between these teams, took a little bit to get things going, but 2 goals split down the middle through 45.
Lead Beedman, it's all about tempo. The tempo needs to be higher because when you do play hot quicker, you're finding success with Luis Gil's central locations. If you can get him on the ball, that allows your verticality to really come into play. And for Westchester, you just need to get on the ball a little bit more. Too many times it's direct, it's wide, but it's not really threatening the opposing goal.
Took a little bit of time for these teams to get into the flow of things offensively. Only 2 combined shots on target in that first half, but both turned out to be goals. A must-win for both these teams for very different reasons. Spokane looking to challenge for first place. Westchester looking to stay alive in the playoff chase. You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Halfway through the action here in Spokane with Velocity and Westchester all tied at 1. Crucial matchup for both these teams. We'll get back to this game in a moment as we welcome you inside the booth with MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. We'll get back to this because this is what everybody's been looking forward to. Rick's Picks. This is where you're going to get a lot of people angry based on some of your choices, I think.
I'm sorry to everyone that does not agree with me. These are my opinions. This is what I think. And at the end of the season, I'll be getting a sorry letter from everyone.
We'll start with Coach of the Year. Who you got for us?
I think you look at what Naples been able to do, Matt Pullen and Naples FC, they've been fantastic. He was appointed July 17th, but you look at the record, what they've been able to do, home, away, creating an identity. They made a record of the unable to find the longest route from expansion side. This FC Naples done has been fantastic. Matt Pullen, I think he will be the Coach of the Year at the end of the 2025 season.
Yeah, they're sitting in fourth now, but there's a decent chance they end up top 2, top 3, and another reason why is perhaps the MVP and Player of the Year in Carson Henderlog.
Carson Henderlog is, for me, one of, if not the most complete number 9 in all of USL League One. I think he's going to make the jump into USL Championship next year. He's big, he's physical, he can score every single type of goal in the book, but actually off the ball is what impresses me the most. The ability to continue to press, to force turnovers high up the field. Carson Henderlog is going to be the MVP of this 2025 USL League One season.
So you've got the MVP and the Coach of the Year from the same team, but that's not the team that you have winning it all.
I think it's Lee Veerman. I think it's Spokane Velocity. What they've been able to do, the experience that they came from 2024, falling short against Union Omaha. They've got new players. They have a new identity. They understand who they want to be on and off the ball, and they're starting to find the real form that you need once you get into the playoff. With the experience last year falling short, a little bit of motivation, Spokane Velocity will get the job done.
I teased it toward the end of the first half that I agree with 2 of your 3 picks, but I'm not going to reveal which 2 of the 3 I agree with. I'm going to keep myself out of trouble and keep the crosshairs on you, Ricky. It's 1-1 through 45 between Spokane and Westchester. More to come on a beautiful evening in the Pacific Northwest. Oh, it wasn't that slow of a first half. There were 2 shots on target. There were 2 goals. We're not putting people to sleep here as we welcome you back inside the booth with Ricky Lopez Espin. I'm Joe Malfa. That was unfair. It was a fun first half. These two teams had some opportunities. They came later, though, in the half. Ends up 1-1. Sort of what we expected, I think, through 45.
We thought this game was going to be open. It was open, but we needed more ruthlessness in that final third. The tempo was lacking in the first half of the first half. And like you said, Joe, once this game starts to settle in, players start to take chances. We start to see quality because there is talent on this team. And this game was all about taking chances in that final third and being ruthless.
As we get into the highlights here, you'll see just that. There were moments where the teams got into the attacking positions you'd like to see, just weren't clinical enough for the first 30 or so minutes.
The spacing for Westchester, this was the best opportunity. You had Okiyoshi drop deeper, now Prince Sadie came century, and this is when Obregon Jr. is at his best. He just unleashes this thing. He hits it so pure, so clean. Notice how it pops up the deck and it sets up perfectly for him, and he hits it so clean. No chance for the goalkeeper. He gets his 12th on the season, and now the challenge for Westchester was always going to come into play. Can they hold the lead? Can they do it? Can they do it? And the answer is no. You look what Spokane Velocity's been able to do with combination play. That's a center back right here, David Garcia, with his vision, the execution to put it into Luis Hill, and then it's the extra pass for Andre Lewis in a better body position. You put it on target, you give yourself a chance. It takes a little bit of a deflection, but 1-1. Again, more drops, more points dropped from a leading position for Westchester.
They could try and get it back on the second half with a goal of their own, but for now, it's looking like more of that same story. Spokane more clinical. Westchester coughed it up just 4 minutes after getting that lead. We're moments away from half number 2. You're watching USL League One on CBS Sports Network. Let's take a look at our travel map brought to you by Best Western.
Fantastic bit of play from Westchester. Starts with Palma into Okiyoshi, and notice Prince Sadie, once he does hit this ball around the corner, that is when Obregon is at their best. And it was the only time that we saw Westchester play in between the thirds. In doing that, they did it at a really high tempo, and it resulted in a fantastic strike for JC Obregon's 12th on the season.
It'll be Spokane in the white from left to right, Westchester in the blue from right to left. 2 yellow cards to remember from that first half, both Westchester center backs. Juan Palma and Bobby Pierre have to be careful here on yellows. Neither side made any changes at the break, the same 22 out there that began the night. In the live table, Spokane 5 points off of first place Chattanooga. Vying for a player's shield, they came into the night controlling destiny, but needed to win their 2 games in hand to do so. Westchester clinging to very slim playoff hopes. Must-win situation for them to keep those hopes alive. All to play for here in the second 45, 1-1 between Spokane and Westchester. Right off the kickoff here, Spokane looking for it. Bobby Pierre slides and keeps it away from harm's way. It's going to be an opportunity right away on one of these long, Lucky Opara throws. Created a couple of chances off of these, half chances rather, no clear cut, but they've caused some chaos already on these. Long throw in from Opara, headed toward goal, snatched by Fakuse. If Spokane are able to go on and win this game, it would buck a trend. So far this year, in all competitions, 1-7-1 Spokane when conceding first. The antidote for that, though, might be a team in Westchester who are only 2-8-4 when scoring first. That's one of the other anomalies this season for Westchester. 2-8-4 when scoring first, 2-8-3 when conceding first. When your record is almost identical, scoring first versus conceding first, you know you had some trouble holding on to leads this year.
And that is why they have dropped the amount of points that they have. This Westchester side, and something that Dave Carton's going to want a reaction in this next 45 minutes. You had the lead, you lost it, now can you respond? The first 10 to 15 minutes here in this second half will be crucial, getting in a rhythm and just settling into this game, because when you slowed it down, you start to find success with playing in between lines.
A reset on another long Lucky Opara throw. Moments ago, headed toward Fakuse, made the save. You see him battling the sun now, Fakuse. He's put that left hand up to shield it a couple of times. Something to keep in mind as we go through this second half. Sun setting behind this near sideline. It was given as a handball against Beckford.
Another really good opportunity here for Spokane Velocity to whip this thing into the mixer and cause a little bit of chaos in front of Fakuse. Desired location for Colin Fernandez, or Waldeck, is right between that 6-yard box and penalty mark. With the traffic oncoming, any sort of deflection and redirection is a nightmare for the goalkeeper.
And Waldeck can really serve them up. Wicked left foot, 15 assists coming into the year in his USL League One regular season career. He's only added 1 more this season. Originally the 66th overall pick in the 2020 MLS draft by FC Dallas. Waldeck angling one in, great ball punched away by Fakuse. Good aggressive goalkeeping after a terrific ball by Waldeck. Stay in play. Awkward one all the way through, nobody got a touch to it.
Really good ball in from Waldeck, allowing his center backs to get on the end of it. This is flawless goalkeeping from Fakuse. If you do decide to come off of your line, you need to take out all the traffic, teammate or not. Punch it up and away, not allowing a second bite at the apple. You just see the aftermath for the contact between Garcia and Fakuse.
Slow to get up, Fakuse. Able to carry on. 3 starts in a row for Fakuse since joining on loan. Nice flick on, work back through, Heel down this right side. Back for Heel. A little bit of contact there.
That ball in from Heel just sends John Brown far too wide. You want to lead him into the 18-yard box, not away from it. A little bit more quality from the number 10 and the captain of Spokane there.
Acres of space for Andre Lewis as he looked over his shoulder. Waldeck. Lewis. Garcia. Again for Garcia. Fed through. Lewis touches it along. Chrysler. A lot of patience on the ball now for Spokane. It's a long way to go in this game for Westchester to invite this amount of pressure and concede this level of possession to Spokane. But with the personnel out there tonight for Westchester, Beckford, Powder, Sadie, very dangerous in transition.
So now the challenge between the 2 center backs of Spokane Velocity with Chrysler and Garcia, they need to understand that as they are expansive, they need to provide coverage off of one another, because it's one sloppy giveaway that's going to go back the other way with how vertical and how transitional that front 3 is for Westchester.
Opara. So much of the possession flows through Garcia here on this back line. I believe Edmund pointed to him as the unsung hero, says he does basically every little thing you could ask for, not just well, but at a high level. Things that will never show up on the stat sheet.
We just look at the way that Lee Wiedemann wants to build out. There is just so much responsibility and so much trust through his 2 center backs, because as they are so spread apart, they need to be extremely clean with their ball playing ability and their decision making, because one sloppy giveaway, it's a 1v1 with your goalkeeper going back the other way.
Soft touch by Opar to settle. Space for Carmen Fernandez. Wanted to give and go. Another shout for a handball from the Spokane side. There's been a couple of instances like that here in this one tonight for Westchester.
Need more of a better relationship on the right-hand side between Opara and John Brown. Opara, we've seen him be as aggressive as he possibly can, staying as high as he can, so John Brown needs to actually come a little bit more centrally.
Here he is, Siobhan John Brown, end line deflected, corner coming.
If he does come centrally, now he has the freedom and the ability to play centrally to combine, but also can peel out and isolate Josh Draken 1v1 opportunities. Because when both players are providing the width, it's just so easy to defend, because one of the opposing players can take him out of the game.
Waldeck. A little bit too tall for Pelais. Won't see League One action till Friday night this week, but there will be a League One team in action on Wednesday as Greenville Triumph take on Hartford Athletic in the USL Jägermeister Cup. The only League One team remaining, one of the old guard in League One. They've won a title in this league. They've been at the top of the mountain in League One, now trying to get to the top of the mountain in the first Jägermeister Cup that features both the Championship and League One. Second edition overall, first to encompass both the leagues. And for a Greenville team that has otherwise struggled this year, below the playoff line, within striking distance, they're 3 points back, but 8th place Omaha have 2 games at hand on Greenville. Winning Jägermeister Cup could be a nice way to salvage the season. And great for League One going forward. Pelaez wins it cleanly. Pelaez brought down. He's looking for a penalty call. Thought initially he might have committed a foul when he won the ball. Referee consistent, lets both challenges go, ends up as a goal kick and nothing more.
This is when Anwar Pelaez is at his best. He's just so opportunistic. He's so relentless. He just tracks down every hopeful ball. That's not a foul. But once you take this touch right now, you need to play it into his heel. By himself, 6 yards out. Takes a little bit too long to make his decision. Pelaez allowing Bobby Pierre to come across and have a goal-saving tackle to just to pick the pocket of the striker. Fakose goes down as well in your frame, signaling to the bench. Seems like his afternoon is done as well.
And he went down a little while ago, remember, after he came through an aggressive bit of goalkeeping, the punch away from Garcia on the cross put in by Waldeck. It was after that he felt something, went down, tried to continue. See if he's able to continue this time. Spokane tied it just 4 minutes after Westchester took a lead in that first half through a bit of great interplay.
And just notice the movement from Garcia. The understanding that is as he goes to the end line, that's going to allow a nice little cutback, but this is exquisite. The back heel right into the path, Luis Heel. And I love how Luis Heel hits it first time because that allows Andre Lewis to get his feet set, but also pick his corner. And that is a lot of traffic right in front of Fakuse. Finds the back of the net, and it's a fantastic goal from back to front from the Spokane Velocity.
Obregon with his 12th of the year ties him for the Golden Boot lead. Lewis with his 1st of the year to tie the game 4 minutes later. If Fakuse cannot continue, Dane Jackman, the backup goalkeeper for Westchester, started 10 games this year. He's been their primary starter. He is currently on loan, Jackman, from Loudoun United in the USL Championship. Was the backup for all 34 games last year to Hugo Ferrou. Ferrou has been the starter again this year for Loudoun, so took the opportunity to loan him here to League One. Give him some minutes, give him some experience, but as they've struggled defensively, it's unfair to pin a lot of that on Jackman. His save percentage is strong, up over 60%. He's been under a lot of heavy fire this year, so not a lot of it his fault, but as the year's gone on, given their issues conceding, you can understand why Dave Carton has tried to spread the wealth in terms of the goalkeeper starts. It does look, though, now like Fakuse will be able to continue. When he went down initially, you pointed it out, he made that substitution signal, so able to work through it. Second time, though, he's gone down and needed to be worked on, so we'll see if he can still continue the rest of the way.
And it's a game within the game now for Spokane Velocity, right? You understand that the goalkeeper is extremely light, maybe not feeling 100%, so you test him. You take any little advantage that you can, and it starts with this set piece for Waldeck.
Waldeck, the service. Pierre flicks it clear. Approaching the hour mark now. This is staggering. In nearly 15 minutes played in this half, 90-10 the possession in favor of Spokane. It was trending that way toward the end of the first half, but not to this extent. Clipped in again. The header! It was mounting for Spokane. Can't give them that many opportunities. Chrysler puts them in front.
Fantastic goal for Spokane Velocity. It starts at the wide parts of the field yet again, which has been a point of emphasis for Lee Wiedemann. You put the ball in a dangerous area. This is not X and O's. This is not tactics. This is just pure want from Chrysler to beat his individual marker to the spot and then have the body position and the body control to head it back across where it comes from to that near post area. No chance for the goalkeeper. And Spokane Velocity take the lead, and now we're into this match.
It's his first of the season. Injuries cost him up until July this year. Second start, fourth appearance on the season, just his fifth goal in his League One career, Chrysler. This goes back to 2020. Spent a year with Madison, 2 with Richmond, 2 with Knoxville. Now this year, his first with what is his hometown team in Spokane. From Everett, Washington, went to Gonzaga. Now is where things can derail a little bit for Westchester, given their history this year. Had that not turned into a goal, which on cue it did, I was going to ask you if this is sustainable for Westchester through 15 minutes to concede 90% of the possession to Spokane. Clearly it wasn't. The corner now, though, the other way for them to try and get it back.
With just the amount of quality as well that Spokane has in the attacking third and the big bodies that they can throw forward, it's just too much pressure to deal with. At a certain point, you need to clear your lines. You need to take the sting away from the opposition, and it starts with their 2 center midfielders, with Okiyoshi and Bolaños. They need to slow the game down, and moments like this, if you do elect to go quickly to win a set piece, you need to capitalize on it.
Beckford's corner. And it's square. Pierre tracking it, he goes in. Referee says play on. Bolaños. Sadie blocked, out for another corner. Lewis is down, holding his head. The 60-40 possession split of the first half you can live with if you're Westchester. Maybe even push that up to 65-35, considering they're a strong transitional team. 90-10, which again, it's what it's been this second half. That is too much. Puts them behind, trying to get it right back here off the corner though. Some numbers here for Spokane. Fed across, but ball runs out of steam from Pelais. You and I have actually had a game this year with Westchester where it looks similar in terms of how they just fell back and conceded that possession. It was a Jägermeister Cup game against Detroit City, which Detroit City went on to win 3-0. Situationally, Detroit City needed to score as many as they could that day, so you understood it a little bit more. But that's what this is almost feeling like here for Westchester.
And just not having the ability to get on the ball, to have the personality, to have the courageousness just to connect passes, get in a rhythm, because when you did, you saw the end product. Scored a really good goal with Obregon. Unable to find that sort of rhythm, and it starts again with the player on the ball. Bolaños, he needs to get on it, he needs to dictate tempo. We also need movement ahead of the ball right now, because Westchester, all they want is to play direct into Obregon Jr. and him to live almost on scraps. If you can have a pocket presence, now you can really bait the Spokane Velocity side central location, and that is when you exploit wide, but it's just too predictable for the visiting side.
They do have 2 subs up and ready to try and perhaps change that. Connor McGlynn and Dean Guzin both set to check in for Westchester, 2 of their best passers and best possession players. So clearly, Dave Carton has seen enough of the way this game has gone in this second half as well, in terms of the game flow and ball control. Bolaños. Great challenge put in to win it by Lewis. He's held on to by Okiyoshi. That's a clear-cut yellow.
Almost seems like Okiyoshi and Jonathan Bolaños in central locations are chasing shadows. Late to every step, covering so much ground, there's just no connection between the 2 of them. And that is why we start to see Spokane Velocity really dictate the tempo in central locations.
Joel Johnson and Prince Sadie departing here as Dean Guzin and Connor McGlynn check in.
It's exactly what we've talked about. This is why you bring in a player like Connor McGlynn and Guzin just to have a presence centrally disrupt play. McGlynn is going to sit right in front of that back four, and Guzin's going to be a little bit more aggressive. A player that likes to come century, but can also go 1v1. So look for him to be the supply into Beckford and Obregon Jr.
McGlynn has had some injuries this year, but when healthy and when in the lineup, Dave Carton calls him one of the best passers in USL League One.
Good run.
Overlap, Siobhan John Brown puts it through. Elias couldn't get to it. Rolled out quickly by Fakuse. Bolaños. Waldeck tracking back, Bolaños brought down just outside the area. Yellow coming for Waldeck. And a free kick and a good spot to get a service in for Westchester. Bolaños trying to claim this should be a penalty, but clearly contact starting outside the box.
Waldeck knows he's beat. There is no need to try to put in a challenge or engage in any contact. Once he takes that touch right now, don't touch him. Notice where the ball is. The ball is going over the end line. Just pull your hands back, stop your run, and let gravity do its thing. He's already going down. As you engage and you try to become a little bit overzealous, you cause a foul, you pick up a yellow card, and more importantly, you give Westchester a little bit of life to really test your goal.
These teams combined for 4 goals in the first meeting, 5 in the second meeting. 3-1 and 3-2, those were split Spokane's way. And that 3-2 turned into a 3-0 Westchester. It turned out to be a forfeit on a roster snafu in the aftermath. We are tracking on that pace again to have 4 goals or more between these sides as they meet for the 3rd time this year. Will that 4th goal come here? Guzin just subbed into the match. This will be his first meaningful contribution. Is it a service or a shot? Guzin lays it off. McGlynn now hits it, deflected, saved by Marancio. You would hate that as a goalkeeper. That deflection could go anywhere, but fortunately, right into the chest of Marancio.
Really good decision from Guzin. Notice the back line is retreating, so the spaces for one of the best ball strikers in all of USL League One. Doesn't hit it as cleanly as McGlynn would like. Marancio doing a good job at staying with it, staying centrally and securing that ball. And a player of Connor McGlynn's stature and his quality from that distance, he should be forcing the goalkeeper to make a better save.
McGlynn will turn 27 this November. Over 100 appearances in his career in USL Championship. As part of last year's Eastern Conference title winners, Rhode Island. This year, his first season in League One. That's something else we're seeing, though, now as League One continues to expand and a few more teams coming next year. A lot of USL Championship guys who maybe were fringe starters, although I guess you can't really call McGlynn that. He was a guy who would start maybe 70% of his team's matches, but now they could turn to a team like this and start maybe 100% of the games and prove their worth, go back up into the championship, and League One is growing in its own stature as well. You saw it in the success that some League One teams have had an Open Cup and Jägermeister Cup the last couple of years, but more and more players like McGlynn are popping up now in League One.
But also for a player like Connor McGlynn specifically, it's an opportunity to test yourself, right? To take a different role with an expansion side, to be a leader, to be kind of that guy within the lineup that players are going to look up to because what you've done at the USL Championship level. So that is something that comes into play when players are understanding, can I go and fight for minutes at a championship club, or can I be the guy coming down to a USL League One side and really set the culture and the standard?
It's Jome. Waldeck. Back into Lewis. 2 very unlikely sources on the 2 goals today for Spokane. Hill drops it back on the spin. Siobhan John Brown couldn't get the shot off. Yet Andre Lewis holding midfielder with his first of the year. Jalen Crystal, the center back, with his first of the year. Jome. Opportunity here on the corner for Spokane to take a stranglehold of this one and go up by 2.
I think you need better movement here from Manuel Pelaez as just Joan picks up this ball in the half pocket of space. If you make a decisive run off the shoulder of Bobby Pierre, that forces the issue of Ishjom. Right here, right side of your screen, he's just waiting. If you just go on your bike and make that run, now he opens up that pass lane for Ishjom because he can make a decision. He either slips you in or he goes solo. That is when you are number 9, how you demand the ball without being verbal.
Waldeck curls it in. He'll be out for a goal kick. Westchester preparing what will be their 3rd sub of the evening. Stephen Payne is getting set to come on. So that'll be for Jonathan Bolaños, who gave chase here in what could be his last involvement. Bolaños off the quick throw. Second ball on the field. Play will continue, though. The ball not impacting things. Now they could get it out of the field. And with that, the sub will come as well. Payne for Bolaños. They added a second sub to this as well now. Joining at the halfway line and entering the field of play, Daniel Bauman. Bauman replaces Taimu Okiyoshi. Over the head of Obregon, who's been a non-factor in this second half. Sliced from Beckford. I don't know that Obregon has actually had a single touch in this second half, at least not one that was memorable or impactful. There's just been no service. Now the other way for Pelaez. One more Pelaez stumbles. Turf Monster got him. Well, he's down in some pain. Let's hope it's just his pride that's hurt, because if Spokane lose a player like that, it spells trouble for what could be title aspirations this year.
With the subs made for Westchester and Dave Cart, now they're going to shift into a 3-back system, allowing Payne to be the right wing back, and you have Potter being the left wing back. The idea for that is to be as expansive as possibly, but also to create overloads on the front line, to have 2v1 matchups, allowing Bauman, McGlynn, and Guzin to come centrally to open up space now. So it's a really aggressive subs for Dave Cart in search of the equalizer.
Going into halftime, and then at halftime, we talked about your picks, right? And I teased that there were 2 out of the 3 I agree with. I'll actually reveal it now. Not that anybody was waiting on that.
I was.
As Pelaez still has the ankle, it looks like, worked on now. You had Poland as your coach of the year for Naples, agree. Carson Henderlong as your player of the year, agree. It's actually your title pick of Spokane that I disagree with. I don't necessarily have a pick. Just if you were to ask me Spokane or the field, I would take the field only because I'm a little concerned with the goal scoring of Spokane when they start running into better competition, like a Knoxville team that just beat Spokane 1-0 a week ago in Knoxville. But, and the reason I bring it up and divulge what my secret was, if this becomes a trend for Spokane, where you're getting more secondary players involved, we mentioned Andre Lewis, first goal of the season, Jalen Chrysler, first goal of the season. If you're starting to get other pieces involved in that way, it does answer the one question I had for the Spokane team of where the goals would come from on days like today where Pelaez has been neutralized.
So you're on the fence, is what you're saying. You don't have a decision.
Technically,
okay,
yes.
Okay, just making sure. Well, you look at the Spokane velocity side and what they've been able to do. You look at Neil Vignes as well, right? They didn't have him last year. He comes into this year. He can be that game changer. He can find that final pass in higher up the field. A player like Nico Brett, if he can get into form, we've seen how good he's been throughout his career in USL Championship. He can be a difference maker for this Spokane velocity side. So yes, with maybe the lack of goal scoring or lack of secondary goal scoring that they have, I do think they have enough talent and enough quality that once the going does get tough and it's a do or die situation, they have enough game changers.
Look, defense wins championships. They've conceded the fewest goals in the league. They're second in the league in clean sheets, but they're third fewest in goals scored. 27 coming in the day, now it's 29. Their leading goal scorer in Pelaez has 8. After that, you're looking at Heel with 4 and then a few players with 2 each. So that's just the question. Nico Brett coming in at age 33, has 1 goal on the season, has 82 in his USL Championship career. He's number 2 in the league coming into this year. Other players who have had good seasons in the championship have threatened and seen him topple down a little bit, but he ended his USL Championship career, if his USL Championship career is done, and he stays in League One now as the second all-time leading scorer at the time. So if you can start to capture something from him now off the bench in a more reserve role, again at age 33, he's been reduced more to that type of role. That's maybe where Spokane can separate. And he could be licking his chops here in this one, as Westchester will need to push for a goal, maybe 2. Given their circumstances at the bottom of the table, pretty much needing to win out to have a chance at a playoff spot. They need to be aggressive here. That's where Nico Brett can capitalize.
His positioning, how high can he stay to keep himself onside? So notice, as Westchester's going to build that into 3, if he can stay in between both center backs and be that first pass forward, now he can really find some success. Nico Brett can. And it's a really important 15+ remaining for this Westchester side. You talk about the hopes of getting themselves into the playoffs, but also to show Dave Carton that you can look at adversity in its face and really fight until the last whistle. Playing against one of the top teams in USL League One away from home, you've given up the lead again. Can you shoulder that responsibility and say, I'm going to produce no matter what is in front of us? Good touch.
Obregon. JC Obregon feeding it. Waldeck, an awkward clearance with his thigh, but it got the job done. They've been able to respond, Westchester. We made note of the fact around the hour mark when the goal was scored by Spokane that in the first 15 minutes of the second half, possession was 90-10 in Spokane's favor. Second half possession tally is now 65-35. So Westchester took the cue of conceding that goal and the pressure they were withstanding to turn the tide now in terms of the control. The substitutions of McGlynn coming in and Dean Guzin coming in have certainly helped as well.
They've also been a little bit more aggressive, right? Trying to win those 50-50 balls, those second waves of attack. Tells you about the structure that we've seen from Dave Carton, getting all 10 outfield players high up the field, and that is not a good look if you are Lee Beeman. Clear frustration on the face of the head coach at Spokane Velocity.
Let's take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule as we continue to travel through September the 17th. Richmond, Portland on CBS Sports Network. Indy 11 against Birmingham Legion a few days later. And toward the end of the month, Colorado Springs and New Mexico. So one more matchup in League One, 2 in the USL Championship coming your way down the stretch this month. Every game feeling like it means that much more. Waldeck. Centering. It's left behind for Isjome. Did take a deflection. Good decoy run from Nico Brett, and a corner coming now for Spokane.
A fantastic recognition from Nico Brett, but also for Isjome. Understand as Nico Brett will crash towards that near post, he's going to pull out Bobby Pierre, which allows that acres of space for Isjome to arrive. Give credit to Josh Drax, staying like for like with the opposition and making life really difficult for Isjome to get a clean shot on target.
Curled in from Heel. Do it again now from this near side. Third goal would be sweet for Spokane. It'll allow them to breathe a bit easier. It'll also give us an identical scoreline to when these teams first met this year. 3-1 Spokane. Had their ups and downs, Spokane, mostly ups. Streaky at times, often following 3 wins with 2 losses, or 4 wins with a loss and a draw. Coming off of a loss against Knoxville, which they went into on a winning streak of 3, trying to get right back to their winning ways here. And in pole position tonight to do so with 11 minutes remaining. Waldeck, in-swinger, dangerous ball slapped away by Fakase.
Really good goalkeeping yet again from Fakuse. Not easy with the amount of traffic right around your 6-yard box, just trying to impede the goalkeeper. He's been good when called upon.
Still 4 subs remaining for Spokane. Lee Wiedman taking the if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach to this one right now. It's been broke though for Westchester. That's why they've made 4 subs. They only have 1 remaining.
In this area of the field, the left side of your screen, you need more vertical threats. If you are Westchester, whether it is through Powder, Obregon, or Beckford, all 3 players are occupying in the same area of the field, which is right in front of the back line of the Velocity. If you can run in behind, you pull out one of the center backs, which in theory opens up space for Guzin and Bauman in those central locations. But right now, too pedestrian-like and too predictable through the run of play for the visiting side.
Low red and plenty of space now for Lucky Power to go. Has Jome for support. Finds Lewis instead. Spokane will visit Texoma next week. Texoma currently sitting in 10th place. Westchester will host Union Omaha, currently in 8th place. Those matches next Saturday for these teams. Welcomed midweek off for Westchester after having played just a few nights ago, and that's something to keep in mind now as we go in the final 10 minutes plus stoppage of this game. What's left in the tank? Westchester had a midweek game, and they traveled across country. Spokane have been off this whole week and have been home this whole week. Westchester preparing their final change. Erman Makic, we're told, will replace Deshane Beckford. Spokane preparing a sub of their own. Bryce Meredith is set. Told he'll replace Colin Fernandez. Fed in. Obregon tried to contort his body and flick it toward goal. Never got a piece of it. The nature of J.C. Obregon, though, as the foul goes against Westchester, even though he hasn't had a meaningful touch in this second half because the service hasn't been there, all he needs is not even a half chance. Give him a quarter of a chance. And a man with 12 goals this year that is tied for the Golden Boot lead can still find the equalizer.
We saw how well he took his goal, J.C. Obregon Jr. in that first half. It's a half opportunity at best, and he just puts his laces through it. As you see the subs coming into the field, Makic, you're going to get a little bit of a ball-playing center midfielder in a more of an aggressive role. Beckford, the more the mobile, like to run in behind. But Makic can get on the ball. That allows Obregon Jr. to make his runs off the shoulder. Really important 8+ remaining here for the Westchester sub.
Javier Martin also comes on for the Spokane side. He'll replace Ish Jome. And Masango Akale enters as well. He takes Siobhan John Brown's spot.
Good touch.
Martin feeds it back. Lewis looking through. Martin trying to get their end line. Won't connect. Nico Brett was in the vicinity as well.
And it's a different type of profile Nico Brett is to Anwar Pelaez. Anwar Pelaez is kind of the more physical number 9 that wants to throw his body around and wants to get on the end of service. Nico Brett can do that, but he's more of a combination 9. With that example right there, he wants to play the ball, he wants to get it back. His movement off of the shoulder in around that 18-yard box is really impressive. So understanding his movement, if you are Luis Field, those 2 players on the same page, you're looking at a really dangerous tandem going forward.
If this holds, it'll be what has been a rarity this year for Spokane. That's a come-from-behind victory. Part of that is They've done a good job of jumping on opponents, scoring first in 14 of their games, but 1-7-1 when conceding first this year. And they found the perfect remedy perhaps for that, though, in a Westchester team that's just 2-8-4 when scoring first. An abysmal mark for a team that is on the brink of 35 points dropped from a winning position. They've already blown past the league record, and it feels like game in, game out, they just add to it. I don't mean to say that to rub salt in the wound here for Westchester. I mean it more as a positive for what Dave Carton is building here in the expansion season. There's a lot of positive to take out of this for next year in that they've been in every game. There's been so many one-goal games. They've had so many opportunities. It's just cleaning things up defensively for a team that also, mind you, has been ravaged by defensive injuries this year. So not all lost for Westchester, but it is frustrating when you look at 35 points dropped from a winning position. 35 points would be good for 5th place in the league this year.
And that is the way that you and I have the ability to speak with Dave Carton. It's how he sees it, right? Saying that we are that close to turning this season completely around to being in a completely different position in the table. So you can take some positives from it because it's not something that you don't know what's going on, whether it is your identity. It's something that you can quickly put your finger on, saying it's those little minute details. Look at the goals that they conceded here today. One, yes, was a fantastic goal through Spokane Velocity in terms of their combination play, but the second, that's just willingness, right? Losing your individual marker.
Obregon cutting, bounces through nearly for Samori Powder. Gathered by Marancio, he'll take his time in getting up. But there's your first look late in this second half as far as why this game is not done and dusted until it's done and dusted for Spokane. JC Obregon on a moment's notice can change things.
It's so opportunistic, Obregon Jr., and just so comfortable in tight spaces. But I love the aggressive nature here for Powder not to give up on it, to continue his run and almost get his reward.
Lacusset bumps into his own defender in Pierre. Bobby Pierre claiming to the assistant referee that Nico Brett nudged him. Thrown away by Lacusset. Intercepted by Heel. Looking for Brett. Cuts in front of Lacusset, but he was offside.
For Luis Heel, you have to pick up your head and just slot this ball across your left shoulder to Martin. It's a 4v2 the other way. If you score this last opportunity, this game is done and dusted. Just trying to hit the home run ball into Nico Brett.
Ball did stay in. Now it doesn't. Space for Javier Martin. Nico Brett all alone. Fed to Brett, settled by Brett. Nico Brett around the keeper. He's offside. He's offside, not by much.
Just want you to watch Palma here. It's an ill-advised step. You have to step in unison, because Connor McGlynn is keeping Martin onside. If you step, you have to step with your center back. One is stepping, one is dropping, and now it's just a bit silly here from Nico Brett. You have to have the ability to stay behind the ball. It's a good pick out from Martin.
I think he was onside. When we have a chance, we'll show it to you again. It's not a perfect angle down that line, but you can use reference points of other lines on the field to help you out. We'll freeze frame it for you when we have an opportunity again.
He's behind.
He's behind him, and we're looking at it on a second monitor. That should have stood as a goal.
You're right, it should.
Oh, you're right. I don't usually hear those words from you. Thank you.
Credit where credit's due, Joe.
Martin betting this one ahead. Flag stays down. Nico Brett tracking it down, takes it too wide. Still on though. Brett goes for a goal, saved by Lacusset.
See where his head's at. Lee Wiedman saying that you need to find the back of the net. Nico Brett, unable to get on the end of it, overrides it, and just elects to go for power. Good save for Lacusset in terms of his position and reactionary skills, down to his right-hand side to deny Nico Brett the third for Spokane Velocity.
In by Waldeck. Knotted down on the volley. Nico Brett offside this time, but let's show you last time. we're going to freeze frame it for you. Watch. Martin is a good few yards beyond the 18. Look at the 18. Nico Brett is maybe a half yard inside the 18. Martin is about 4 yards beyond the 18. So using those points of reference, Nico Brett was onside. This should be a 3-1 game, and he should have his second goal of the season.
No VAR here in USL League One, so whatever the call is on the field stands. Westchester get away with one here. It should be 3-0. Spokane Velocity.
3-1. Don't shortchange Westchester.
3-1, sorry.
Although, to be fair, it's felt like a while since Westchester got that goal, and they really haven't done much since then. Now in the 90th minute. Time-wasting yellow here for Carlos Marancio with 4 minutes of stoppage time given. One last change here for Spokane. Neil Vignals will replace Luis Hill, player that we thought we would see more of today, even from the start. Neil Vignals, creative player, 3 goals, 2 assists this season for Spokane. He was All-League first team 2 years ago, All-League second team last year. Makes his 19th appearance of the season, just 6 of those starts.
One of, if not the most complete midfielder, in my opinion, of all of USL League One. The ability to find the final pass, the combination play, the spaces that he picks up, just a clever individual Neil Vignals is. And a player that, speaking with Lee Wiedemann, spoke extremely high on. And he can be a difference maker once the playoffs come around, to be that game changer that the Spokane Velocity side needs to really unlock opposition's back line.
To get something going forward now if you're Westchester. Halfway through 4 minutes of stoppage time. They have just 2 shots, 1 on target in this second half, and the 1 shot on target they had wasn't a clean one. Remember, it was that McGlynn deflected shot from outside the box that, fortunately for Spokane, deflected right into the arms of Marancio. And that came off of a free kick, so from the open run of play, Westchester have not mustered a shot on target in this second half. And their only one in the first half was the goal back in the 36th minute. Which is why I forgive you before for saying 3-0 Spokane, because it really hasn't felt like Westchester have threatened in this one.
All one-way traffic in this second half in favor of the home side. It's exactly what Lee Wiedemann would have wanted, especially needing a response after losing at Knoxville. He sensed his frustration when speaking with him. Was unable to really create anything through the run of play in the final third specifically. But a good showing here at home for Spokane Velocity.
Given away, clumsy at the back by Pierre. Vignals orchestrating. Nico Brett offside. Vignals continues. Martin, 30 seconds to go. Will he take it toward the corner or take it toward goal? Instead gives it back to Vignals. Feels like a missed opportunity to have taken it to the corner there for Spokane. With only 20 seconds remaining. Might not mean anything, but something, no doubt, knowing Lee Wiedemann's personality, he'll zone in on when they watch this game back.
Nico Brett as well. He was livid that Vignals does not play this ball at the space so he can run onto it. Acting like a true goal scorer, always wanting the service into him. Bauman picks up a yellow card, takes out center back Chrysler.
Chrysler, the center back, will have the game-winning goal once this goes final. 4 minutes of stoppage come and gone. Lewis wins it. Scored their first goal of the day, Spokane. Is there one last chance in this for Westchester? Free kick coming, have to hurry on it. Last chance, launched long. Spokane, get it clear. There's the final whistle. Spokane Velocity successfully defend their home field here tonight, inching closer to that top spot in their quest for the Players' Shield, winning it 2-1 over Westchester.
Deserving winner, Spokane Velocity, the better side of the two. They were on the ball a little bit more. They were dictating tempo and more aggressive. And this game was won and lost in both boxes. Their box defending was fantastic, especially in that first half. And when they got in front of goal, they took their chances and pick up a massive 3 points as they continue to push up the table.
Well, we called it when we came on the air that this was a must-win for both these games for very different reasons. For Spokane in their quest to be the #1 seed, to win the Players' Shield, to have the postseason run through one Spokane stadium. They checked the box, they got their win. It was a must-win for Westchester to cling to slim playoff hopes, but they falter in a familiar way again from a leading position. This is the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. We're back in a moment to wrap things up from Spokane, where Velocity take it 2-1 over Westchester. The players wearing white today, all smiles as they took a lap around the stadium to thank the fans. Spokane 2, Westchester 1. Let's take a look back at how it all went down this afternoon in Spokane. It was Westchester scoring first, but once again, story of their season, they couldn't hold on.
Really good bit of play from Westchester. Starts with Okioshin. This touch from Prince Sadie is exquisite, allowing JC Obregon just to run onto it and smack this ball. He hits it so pure, so clean. You can't hit it cleaner than a striker like this to get his 12th on this season and to give Westchester a 1-0 lead early in that first half.
It didn't last long, 4 minutes to be exact.
Yeah, a bit of combination play between Spokane Velocity starters with Garcia. That's a center back with this quality of a touch. And it's the extra pass from the experienced Luis Hill to understand Andre Lewis is in a better body position, already arriving in top of that 18-yard box, and it's a really good finish, 1-1. But can you get that second goal? That was always going to be a point of emphasis for Lee Beedman. You go short on this short throw-in, and you put the ball in a dangerous area, and Chris, our center back, just wants it a little bit more than Bobby Pierre. He beats him for the physical game, but also a technical header to head it back across where it came from, and no chance for Bakuse to more importantly get Spokane Velocity 2 goals and all 3 points.
Take a look at the updated standings here. Down there at the bottom, still Westchester, and it's really starting to fade fast, their playoff hopes. That playoff line right beneath Omaha, above Tormenta, their top 8 make it. But Spokane, a match in hand, 3 points back of Chattanooga, vying for that top spot.
They want to play for the Players' Shield. Now you have a game in hand and a really important stretch of games here for Lee Beedman and Spokane Velocity. Next time you go to Texoma, you go to Union Omaha, and then you have 2 back-to-back home games. Really important stretch for Lee Beedman and the Spokane Velocity.
Last year, they made it all the way to the final. They were the runners-up. Spokane, they have their sights aimed higher here in 2025. Rowdy day from the fans here once again in Spokane, and more of the same for Westchester. They took a lead, but they were unable to hold on as all 3 points go to the home side, Spokane Velocity. My broadcast partner, Ricky Lopez-Espin, and our entire outstanding crew, I'm Joe Malpa saying so long for now. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Another big 3 points for Spokane in their quest for a Players' Shield in USL League One. Another disappointing result for Westchester SC after once again dropping points from a leading position.
Westchester FC struggled. Not started. I'm checked out.
It's exactly like that, yep. Oh, sorry, he was still blabbering. Another massive 3 points for Spokane Velocity in their quest for a Players' Shield in USL League One. Another disappointing loss for Westchester, once again taking a lead and falling behind.
Westchester struggled to find an identity through the game, but give credit to Spokane Velocity. They scored some really 2 good goals. They were clinical, and they were on the front foot, and they deserved the win.
And it was way back in that 30th minute, 36th minute, and please get to the highlights while he's talking like I asked for before.
Yeah, I come over like. Scored 2 really good goals, and they are ruthless.
Why is it all green? Oh, that wasn't good. What is happening? The universe doesn't want us to do this hit. Another massive 3 points for Spokane Velocity in their quest for a Players' Shield in USL League One, and another disappointing result for Westchester taking a lead and losing once again.
Westchester struggled to find an identity through the game, but you have to give credit to Spokane Velocity. They were on their front foot, they were ruthless, and they scored 2 really good goals through the run of play.
Westchester scored that goal in the 36th minute to set everything off. The question was, could they hold on? We'd find out 4 minutes later they couldn't, but the bright spot, JC Obregon, his 12th goal ties for the Golden Boot lead.
And he makes no mistake about this finish. This little touch from Prince Sadie sets him up for success, but notice a technical ability as it pops off the grass perfectly for Obregon Jr. Head down, shoulders over the ball, laces through it, and just tags it. It's a great goal to give Westchester the 1-0 lead.
Theme this year, points drought from a winning position. They came in with a League One record 32. They'll leave today with a League One record 35. 4 minutes later, Andre Lewis, the tying goal.
Oh, what a fantastic goal this is from Spokane Velocity. First, it's Garcia, the center back, to play it into Luis Hill. The extra pass into Andre Lewis. It's combination play, it's efficient, and it's ruthless from Andre Lewis to tie this game 1-1.
Second half, first 15 minutes, 90-10 in the possession for Spokane, and it led to this goal.
You go short from a throw, and now you put the ball in a dangerous area. It's not X and O's, it's not tactics. This is Chrysler just wanting it a little bit more, beating his individual marker. Great header to score the second goal for Spokane Velocity and to give him a massive 3 points.
They would hold on the rest of the way, a 2-1 win for Spokane. Playoff hopes fading for Westchester, and hopes of a Players' Shield growing for Spokane, who win it 2-1 on the night. Obregon with Sadie. JC Obregon! No stopping that man! A dozen on the season! Westchester ahead!